Guys, it's Mo Clark checking in with Upscale Magazine with the lovely Aaliyah. How are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing today?
You the money woman. We gotta talk about it. Let's get into it. So,
Yes, let's do it.
your journey from business student to founder of Financial Revolution has inspired so many young people, which is amazing, by the way.
Thank
What
you.
was the pivotal moment for you that made you kind of decide that now was the time to launch your mission rather than wait?
I mean, I think the younger you start something, better it is, right? The more time you have to see it grow, the more time you have to like take a risk, right? Because I don't have no kids, no family depending on me and things like that. So I'm really able to go all in and take certain risks that maybe if I had more responsibilities and stuff, I wouldn't have been able to do. And I will also say, most importantly, I know how important it is for young people to see representation, right? So young people seeing other young people doing things, it inspires them to say, you know what, if Aaliyah could do it, I can do it. So I think it was the perfect moment to just start at a young age.
I agree. When my daughter, my oldest daughter, when she was a senior in high school, they gave her a project to do where she had to look up rent and car note and all this and all that. That was about 6 years ago, and so much has changed in just those 6 years. I still don't think she know how to live on her own, but don't judge her.
No, yes.
So, financial literacy can feel intimidating, especially for Gen Z. How do you use storytelling, games like Broke or Brilliant, and rap cards in cultural context to make financial education relatable and fun?
Yeah, for sure. I think the traditional school system has made learning and education so boring to the point where when people have need to learn something that is really useful in their life, like finances, we use money every day, right? But it's still not taught in the school system. By the time they get out into the real world and they have to self-educate themselves, they don't want to do it because they just look at education as a boring and a thing that they have to do when they're in trouble. Like think about it, when you get in trouble, your parents go sit down and read a book, right? So you automatically associate, education and bettering yourself and learning with just a boring activity and something that you don't feel like doing or you don't want to do, right? So I'm like, how can I integrate, financial literacy and things that people need into a space that it won't normally be in, such as at a game night, right? When are you ever at a game night and you're learning about money or finances, but you're learning about it in such a fun way that people are like, wait, what is this game? What is Broker Brilliant? Right? So Broker Brilliant is a financial literacy trivia game. It's a drinking game, and we also have a non-drinking version where you basically take shots for poor financial decisions. So it's like take a shot if you don't own stocks, right? So like you're taking a shot for not having, ownership into the stock market. And then you're not just taking shots all day. You're also learning. We have Q&A cards, right? So those cards have questions on them. So it's like, what is a 529 plan? Or what does ROI in investing or business mean, right? These are terms and things that you should know, but the average person may not know, right? But at a game night, if you see a Broker Brilliant, you taking shots, you drinking, you having that trivia and that competition going on, you're like, oh wait, what is that? And
Right.
you're gonna remember that for the rest of your life, you know?
I would like to think as an adult at the end, you said you're going to be learning, but I think if you're drunk, you have learned that you aren't as invested, literally, as you should be. Like if you look up and you like, dang, I'm messed up. Like you
Literally.
literally are messed up because you haven't taken certain protocols in life. So I get it, especially in our community. It's not something I'm not gonna tell my age, but thank God for people like you because in my community, it's not something that we grew up in the house discussing as far as stocks and credit and whatever. Actually, we did discuss credit, but my dad he didn't really go into depth with it. He just said you don't never want to mess up your credit, and that was
Hmm.
it. And
Yeah, or like,
unfortunately, he
mhm.
passed away when I was 19.
Wow,
So
sorry to hear
we
that.
didn't get to go into depth with certain
Mhm.
things. So thank God for people like you and doing what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
So, as a podcast host with the Young and Dumb Show, what have been some of the most surprising insights or conversations that you've had about money and life with your guests?
Most importantly, I think the Young and Dumb show is not just focused on finance, it's also focused on just like wellness as a person, right? I think when you're young, you make a lot of decisions. That's why it's called like the young and dumb, right? You make a lot of decisions based off of the knowledge that you have at that moment, and you grow from those decisions or those experiences that you've been through. So, a lot of the guests talk about like the building of the family aspect or financial mistakes that they made in the past, or how like what I'm doing is so important because the number one thing that they've learned is the sooner they got started, if they got started sooner, they would have had more growth, more money, and things like that. And that's what I try to show other young people. And sometimes we have to hear it from people that are older than us, but also receive it from people that are younger than us. Does that make sense, right? So it's almost like our parents or my mom or my dad could be telling me something, but if my friends tell me the same thing, I'll probably listen to my friend's version because I relate to them, we connect, and I'm like, all right, I get you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Versus our parents telling us, it seems almost like they just being parents, they being annoying, things like that. So I think when I'm asking the questions to somebody on a Young and Dumb show and they're giving the answers and I'm able to break it down into a relatable and engaging way for my peers to understand, now that is connecting the intergeneration, right? And that's making sure that we're able to take, knowledge from older generations, funnel it down to my generation.
Right. I love that. So, with you actually working with community, schools, and organizations to kind of shift the mindset around wealth and opportunity, what do you think, or do you have a community success story that you can actually share?
Yeah, for sure. Tons of them. Like I've walked down blocks and people stop me and they're like, "Wait, are you Aaliyah?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like I had this one moment. I had a student in a class who was really, really quiet. Like she didn't really say anything, which like I didn't mind because sometimes you don't verbally say something, but you're just soaking up the information. I know like sometimes I don't, I'm not actively talking, but I'm learning. And one time this parent stopped me. She said, "Are you Aaliyah? You do the finance?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like what happened? Like she just stopped me. I'm like, "Did I do something?" She was like, "Oh my God, my daughter loves your class." And this is middle school. She was like, she comes home every day and she tells me what you taught her and what accounts that we need to open. And like I listen, I opened up this account for her, I did that, and now I'm able to do this. And I think those moments are like I love those the most. And I love the when I see the students like minds turning, like I see the wheels turning in their brains and they're getting that aha moment, because I remember what that aha moment was for me and how it felt when I first learned like, wow, I've never knew this information. And knowledge, a lot, having not having knowledge has a cost. You get what I'm saying? Like when you don't have access to information, there's a fee for that. For
For
example,
sure.
right?
For sure.
There's a company, for example, called like Nvidia, right? They're the number one company in the world right now. They make the AI chips, right, that go into a lot of these AI platforms, tech platforms, and things like that. That
Mhm.
company earlier this year, well, last year, it went all the way down at $86, right? And right now is currently at $185. All of that growth is two times the amount of growth. Somebody is able to make thousands and millions of dollars off of that, and
Mhm.
somebody else isn't because they didn't have access to that information.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? So that's what I
Mhm.
mean by like this information is important, and not having it comes with a cost.
Absolutely does. And there really, I don't think, is an excuse to not do certain investments, because even if you're working at a job, some companies offer you to buy into their stocks, especially Walmart. Like I bought into Walmart at 18 and I didn't really understand stocks at the time. So when I left the job, I gave up my stocks, which was so
Mm.
dumb. It was a dumb moment, wasn't it? But it's just the fact of knowing what those opportunities are and being able to put certain things out here for the youth to see, financial literacy, insurance and things like that, buying into insurance and healthcare insurance and life insurance. And it's so deep that a lot of the youth, they don't understand it because a lot of us adults, some of us are still learning. So it's kind of hard to teach it back when we never
Exactly.
really fully learned and grasped the concept. So I
Exactly.
get it. So looking ahead, what is your biggest and boldest goal for financial revolution over the next 5 years? And how do you see your generation reshaping the future of money and power?
Yeah, so my number one goal, well, I have two. One of my main goals is to have broker brilliant and rap cards inside every single household, right? Because I believe that financial literacy is not something that we should just learn when we get a chance to. No, it's a necessity for life. The same
Mhm.
way that we have, other things in our household, a fridge, with food in it, a pantry with food in it. Like we need to have books, games, things that are educating us when it comes to our finances because money is the number one thing that we all have in common. Like we all need money. My
Right.
second major goal is to have my financial literacy program and curriculums across five major cities and also global and all over the world, right? Where people are learning about money, right? Even when I think about my games, you can have Broker Brilliant Spanish version, you can have Broker Brilliant in the UK version, Broker Brilliant, in a Ghanaian version. You know what I'm saying? It's where because we all need to learn about money,
Mhm.
and one thing we have in common is that we all can agree that school is not fun. And school is not going to prepare us for the world, right? So if you're not getting it in your household, right, where's your base, and then you're not getting it in school, you have to depend on yourself. You have to self-educate yourself, right? And a great way to do that is through games and having fun.
I had fun in school. I went to a performing arts high school, so I had
You
fun.
have
But my
fun,
daughter,
okay?
yeah, my daughter's not so much because I'm thinking, listen to you speak. I'm like, I don't really remember the youngest one coming home discussing anything financial that she was learning or counting money. Not when she got to the higher grades. Now, maybe when she first started, of course, they're going to kind of teach you how to count money, but you really need it towards the end when you're about to be a young adult because not
Right.
everybody goes to college after graduating high school. They jump right into the workforce and they're getting
Yeah.
out here and they're getting full-time jobs and they're not knowing and understanding what their benefits are. They're not understanding about the stock. They're not understanding what should I have a 401k. For the longest I only knew about 401k. I didn't know about 403b or whatever. And I'm like,
Mhm.
wait, what is this not the same? Is this the same? Rollover IRA accounts. So congratulations to you. I'm with it. I think your program should be in the curriculum as well. Because
Yeah.
my daughters don't understand. Mommy ain't got Roblox money every 5 minutes.
Yes. And I just want to add on to that what you just said, right? That was important. That you got to think about it. You have mentioned not everybody wants to go to college, but even in college, you don't learn about finance sometimes unless you are a finance major, right? In
Mhm.
school, you should be learning car notes, right? How to get a car, how to apply for a house,
Interest rates for
taxes,
sure.
interest, like everything that we do as everyday citizens, we should know how to do by the time that you leave high school.
For
You
sure.
get what I'm saying? Right? I
Hmm.
always say that we got to understand that. Why is it that by the time we leave school, we understand how to spend our money, but we don't understand how to invest it? We know
Right.
how to go buy an iPhone, but we don't know how to go buy Apple stock, right?
Yeah.
Like that should bother us. That should make us upset, right? And understanding that the system is designed for us to not learn because the moment we're educated, then they not gonna be able to take advantage of us anymore. You know what
For
I'm
sure.
saying? So it's like we have to look at it. And I was on a I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I just want to add this part, right?
Okay.
I was on a podcast yesterday and they were talking about like slavery and things like that. And I was saying like we are in a new form of slavery, right? And this new form of slavery that we're in is not physical anymore. It's mental, right?
Mental.
They never taught the enslaved people how to read. The reason why they
Hmm.
never taught the enslaved people how to read is because they will be educated. They're not
Hmm.
teaching us about finance. They're not teaching us how to eat to live. They're not teaching us about politics because then we will be educated. Then we will
For sure.
start seeing the system for what it is and we would know how to remove ourselves and still prevail out of these systems. Does that make sense? Right.
Yes.
So that's why I think like we're not learning it, but it's super important for us to go and still learn it on our own.
Listen, I being in high school and even learning about politics, our most recent situation has made me rethink what did I learn because I always thought you couldn't become president without holding a Senate seat or a governor,
Hmm.
and now here we are. And
Hmm.
it's like, okay, what? hold on, what really were the qualifications at this point? Because y'all done lied to me. So anybody can be president, and
Literally.
that's that on that, you know. But I'm excited about your curriculum, even if you gotta, girl, if you gotta come up with the little play money again, because I know it's still circulating, but it's not like it used to be. You know, I don't see kids going and get those little grocery carts they used to get back in the day and pretend. All that stuff is very major, very major. And you mentioned people know how to buy an iPhone. Not really. They don't know they financing. They don't know they financing that phone. You know, they just thinking, dang, my phone bill high. Yeah, because you still paying, you making payments on that phone that's not even being reported to your credit to boost your credit score unless you don't pay for the phone.
Hmm.
Well, you have been amazing. Let everybody know where they can find you at in your platform.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate this interview. You can find me at Financial Revolution with two N's on all platforms, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. My website to grab a game is financialrevolution with two N's.com. And I appreciate you.
No problem. And guys, it is Mo Clark checking in with Upscale Magazine, and we out.